Finally, I just want to say it is an absolutely enormous pleasure for me, immense privilege for me to be able to introduce to you the leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. And to those people in the far distance, can you hear us? And those people out on the beach, can you hear us? Now watch out for the tide, it'll be in later. I've heard about these tides around here, they come in awful fast. This is, I'm pretty confident in saying, the biggest campaign event I've yet done in this general election campaign. You're going to love this bit. You've outscored Leeds. So I guess we need to go back to Leeds and hold an even bigger one. I think this is the 50th campaign event that I've done since this election was announced. And you know what? This is like a parallel universe of elections. On the one hand, you read in some of our newspapers cynical comments that this is not possible, this can't be done. I'll tell you what, since this election started, thousands of people have joined the Labour Party. Thousands of people have donated very small sums of money to fund our election campaign. The average donation is £22, and I am very proud that that is the average donation, because it shows who is supporting Labour. We're black, we're white, we're gay, we're straight, we're men, we're women, we're disabled, we're just about everything. Because we are the society. And I want to say a huge thank you, first of all, to Steve Rotherham, and congratulations on his election as the Mayor of Liverpool City Region. He came to me and he said he was thinking of going for the Mayor of Liverpool City Region. Do you think that's a good idea? And I said, only if you win it. And you couldn't want for a better comrade during the past very interesting 20 months since I was elected the leader of the party. A good friend, a good advisor, and absolutely rock solid support, particularly when times are tough. Because when times are tough, you know who your friends are and you know who you can rely on. And I want to say absolute congratulations to Margaret on being elected last time. I cannot remember the name of the MP she succeeded. Can anybody help me? No, it's okay, it's okay. It's okay, don't worry. And Margaret... No, we don't use unkind words. Margaret has been absolutely brilliant as the Member of Parliament, as speaking up for the people of all the communities, and as speaking up on the environment and our National Health Service. What she said about undersea fracking, what she said about damage to our environment, and that means protecting wonderful places like this and protecting the diversity that goes with it. So I thank Margaret for the sense and intelligence she's brought to Parliament in doing that. And what I also say to you all is thank you to Margaret for the work she's done on the National Health Service with her NHS bill. And I'll come back to health in a moment, because again, it's the principles behind the National Health Service that she is so passionately trying to defend. Now, this election campaign is about lots of things. And I am travelling the whole country. I am very happy to talk to and meet anybody. I can let you know it's apparently called the Conservative Party. That's the absolutely correct response, thank you. if she's got time to hold a public discussion and a debate, I'm sure we could make arrangements to hold it here on this beach. It would be fine. And we could have that discussion about the kind of world we want to live in. Because this week, our manifesto came out here, for the many, not the few. And I'm very proud of our manifesto because it sets out things that we are utterly determined to achieve, the balance in society we're determined to change, and we've been through it all, every last line of it, about how and when we're going to do it. And it's all there to be looked at, all there to be debated, and all there to be discussed. Their manifesto comes out, what's in it? An attack on our elderly, on their social care, a threat to their pensions by taking away the triple lock, an attack on our children by removing the limited free school meals that are available in our primary schools at the present time, and what else? Tax cuts and tax relief for the top end of society, 60 billion being handed over to the wealthiest and the wealthiest corporations. And you know what Britain would look like after another 5 years of Tory government? There are already thousands of people sleeping on the streets of our cities and towns across this country. There are already people living in horrible, overcrowded, private rented flats when they should be getting somewhere secure. There are already 1 million people working on 0 hours contracts. There are already 6 million people earning less than the living wage in Britain. There are already large numbers of young people saddled with debt because they went to university, can't find a job, and can't go forward in life. Just what would it look like with another 5 years of this crew running the ship? What levels of unemployment, underemployment and poverty would there be in Britain at the end of that period? And so our manifesto is carefully thought out to deal with some of these issues. But you know what I really resent this week, is the way in which she's tried to set the older generation against the younger generation. Well, I tell you this, young people deserve the space to achieve, deserve the space to imagine, deserve the space to go forward. Older people don't deserve to be living in poverty and isolation and frightened for their health service or care. We need a society that genuinely works for and cares for all. This crowd here today are that crowd. We are those people. We are a community that does things and achieves things together. That surely is the watchword for this election campaign. So I tell you this, we will protect the triple lock for pensions so that pensioners will not see the value of their pension destroyed, which is what this government is threatening to do. And that is, I think, a very important place to start. We're also appalled at the social care crisis that exists in Britain. 1 million people, mostly older but not all, some with severe needs, disabilities, learning difficulties, many different conditions, are desperately waiting for a care place to be made available for them. And there's 1 million of them waiting. And what does this government propose to do? An individual solution to what is a collective problem. We will invest in social care so that there are not 1 million people in isolation. And for younger people, I say this. This is the 5th or 6th richest country in the world. And I want our children to go to good schools. I want those schools to be available for every child in every part of the country, not a postcode lottery. And so it absolutely breaks my heart talking to head teachers all around the country, and indeed I went to the head teachers conference to talk to them about this. The school's funding formula. The right old mealy mouth thing is that, isn't it? But the reality of that funding formula and the way it's been changed is that many schools are having less money per pupil than they did in the past. That means what? It means the head teacher has got to decide which teacher to get rid of, which teaching assistant to get rid of, which subject to close down. Well, and for those children, that is catastrophic, because you only have one childhood, one chance, one time you're in school. And so we will absolutely fully fund the schools. So we won't be saying to head teachers, if you can't afford to pay your teachers, well, you better go and collect the money at the school gate. Because do you know what? If you're rich, you can afford to pay at the school gate. If you're poor, you can't. But your children are equally valuable to you, to all of us, and to our community. And do you know what? Hungry children find it hard to concentrate. Hungry children don't learn. Hungry children have much greater difficulties in achieving later on in life. And so we thought about this, we talked about it, and we've decided that a Labour government will introduce the policy in England of a free school lunch for every child in every primary school. And that means those children will eat that lunch together. They will eat that lunch together, and that surely is a message of the kind of community of society that we want. That is the Labour way. But education isn't just about the subjects you learn in school, obviously important as that is. It's also about the imagination and the creativity. Understanding the world we live in, understanding the environment, and understanding that imagination that can be performed in music and art and many other things. So on Monday, we're going to be announcing our policy of a pupil arts premium for every school in the country. And you know what? This idea has been carried out in Faith Primary School in Liverpool and other places, and I'm very proud of it, because I want all children to be able to learn music, to develop their own creativity, because that makes them better at all the other things they do. And surely to goodness, in this, the music capital of the world, you have to do that. And Steve Rotherham's a great singer. So we say that because that is what we intend to do. And what do the Tories offer? Well, they're a really 21st century party, you know. You've got to get used to it and show proper respect to them. Yes, we're in the 21st century, but they're absolutely on it. Their priorities, two very important priorities, are to bring back fox hunting and bring back grammar schools. Well, that's cutting edge stuff for you. And we offer something very different in education, but also for older students. Because when you go through secondary school, you want to go on to college, you want to go on to university if you can, and the fees at universities have got higher and higher. The number of working class youngsters applying to go to university is going down and down, and it seems to me it's all going completely the wrong direction. And when somebody cannot achieve what they want in life, cannot get to be the engineer, the doctor, the lawyer, cannot get to be the skilled person they want to be, two things happen. One is they lose because they haven't achieved the ambition they wanted in life. The others who lose are every single one of us. We don't have that doctor, don't have that nurse, don't have that engineer in our society. And so I don't believe it's reckless what we're proposing. I believe it's sensible and a good way of doing things. And that is why I think we should do what other countries do and end tuition fees at universities so that everyone can get to university if they want to go there. Because these things are absolutely crucial to the strength and health of our society. Our manifesto has set all of this out, and I'm determined that we should carry it out. There's also issues of justice and social justice in our society. If you live in a damp, overcrowded flat, if you're in an insecure tenancy, if you're worried about how you're going to pay the rent, then you're under stress, your family's under stress, the children are under stress. And I represent an inner city constituency which has all those housing problems. Those housing problems exist in different forms all over the country. And so I am very determined that a Labour government will build on the achievements of the past, and we will build the housing that's necessary. Over the lifetime of the first Parliament, we'll build 1 million homes, half of which will be for social rent. And so we do that because it creates jobs, because it's a virtuous circle of creating jobs, building into the supply chain, and also, of course, housing people better in secure lifetime tenancies. I think these things are very, very important. Now, an election is about how you deal with the services and the needs that people have, and I've absolutely outlined that. It's also what you do for the economy of the future. You could go down the road of continuing to cut corporate taxation, continuing to give away tax relief to the very wealthiest in our society, and you could continue going down that road. But at the end of it, what have you got? You've got less manufacturing industry, you've got less industry, you've got greater levels of inequality in society, you have greater anger amongst so many people who can't achieve what they want to do. And you have whole regions of the country which are not receiving the investment that they should. And so our primary first off objective on the economy is to establish an investment bank for the whole country, with a regional investment bank that will build the railway lines and infrastructure necessary all across the country. We'll invest in broadband, and will support manufacturing industry, and will negotiate a trade access agreement with the European Union so the manufacturing jobs that are so crucial on Merseyside will be protected by a Labour government. So it's about how we deal with the economy and how we deal with our rights in society. Our rights in society have been hard won. Those that formed trade unions in the dark days of the 19th and early 20th century and fought for justice and workers' rights. Those rights are not ours to give away. Those are our rights to support and defend. And so, on May the 1st, Becky Long-Bailey produced our Workers' Charter for this election campaign, which includes many things, but it specifically is about the rights of representation at work. It's also about a living wage that means something. So a £10 an hour living wage is what we want to achieve, because that gives people obviously better pay and greater dignity at work, and enables us to go forward as a society and as a community. But all this requires determination to rebalance things. And so when they say, well, your programme is very expensive, yeah, it is. But the cost of not doing it is even higher for all those whose ambitions are not achieved. And so 95% of the population will not get an increase in taxation, national insurance or VAT. The corporate taxation rate will go up to slightly less than it was in 2010, because what we're saying is the austerity imposed after 2008 has been paid for on the backs of frozen wages, poverty, bad housing, underfunding of local government, health and so much else. So we will redress that imbalance. That is what this election campaign is all about. It's about the kind of world and kind of society we want to live in. And so, if I can give you this message, we now have an election 2 weeks next Thursday. The postal vote ballot papers go out in a week's time. People will be voting in a week's time in this election. This election is a chance for everybody. To those young people, and it's mainly young people who have not yet registered to vote, whoever you are, wherever you are, whether you're well housed or homeless, please register to vote by midnight on Monday. We need you all on the register. And I'm very pleased to say the last time I was given figures on this, more than 2 million people had registered since this election was announced. And whilst the leader of the Conservative Party, who is also the Prime Minister at the present time, is unwilling to engage in debate or conversation, I say to all of you, wherever you are, wherever you go, whatever you do, cafe, bus, train, whatever you're doing, engage in that conversation. Do you want to live in a country that glories in injustice and poverty and inequality? Or do you want to do something very, very different? Because you could go down the road, or you could blame the old, blame the young, blame a minority. There's always somebody you can blame. But you know what? When you finish blaming somebody else for the problems we've got, you haven't built a house, you haven't employed a nurse, you haven't improved a hospital. All you've done is created stress and division in our communities. So our message is this. Take that message out there. That we can upset the very powerful on June the 8th. By electing Labour MPs, by electing a Labour government, by electing a government that will work for the good of all, not the benefit of the few. By electing a government that will take up the challenges we all face every day, but will be absolutely rooted in where that power comes from. And that power, that authority, comes from those that have put MPs there, i.e. all of us here today. So, let's go for it! Let's go for it! Let's do it for all those that went before. Let's do it for those that are going to come. Let's do it to build a society that works for all. Do it for the many, not the few. Do it for the many, not the few. Do it for the many, not the few. Thank you very much.